Welcome to Carp Tracer. Today we're going to discuss choosing the correct carp reel, and in today's session we're going to discuss choosing a bait runner versus a big pit. We would just like to thank Kevin from Casey's Angling for making this video possible. So as you can see here, we've got the two reels side by side here. On your left hand side here we have a bait runner, alright, as you can see here with this little clip that's put on here, and on your right hand side here we've got the big pit. To explain the differences between the two other than the big size difference, if we have a look at the bait runner, alright, we've got the bait runner functionality clip on the back of the reel, which allows you to have a free spooling functionality to allow the fish to take the line freely off your spool. Once your fish does take that, with a quick twist of the handle, it clicks it back over. As you can see, that flicked the bait runner functionality over, and now you are going to run solely on the front drag system of the reel. And again, here you can adjust it by turning the top little screw, and this will allow you to have the fish take more line off the reel. When we look at the big pits now, right, we don't have that bait runner functionality on the back of the reel. We only rely on the front drag system, and this, the same way that the bait runner works, we are going to twist the front spooling mechanism, and this will allow the fish to still take, and you are going to play with this functionality only during the fight to allow the fish to take certain amount of drag off your reel. As you guys can see here now, I've removed the spools from both reels, and we're going to discuss a little bit further with regards to the drag systems and the pins that these are fastened to. If we have a look see, and we're going to start here with the bait runner, you can see it's very simple. It's got your little gear ratio here at the top and a very thin pin. You can see here against my finger the size difference on that pin. Now if you're fighting smaller fish, that's not too much of a worry. But as we well know, in specimen angling, we are keying in on those bigger carp. So we need to up our quality of our pin. And this is a big difference on the big pit. As you can see here, this pin on this big pit is a lot thicker and a lot bigger. And this is very key to remember, is that the fish is going to put a lot of force on your reel and your drag system. So you need to ensure that the reel can handle the amount of force that's going to be placed on the reel. And I say to you that this is one of the key points to always look at with regards to choosing your reel. You want one that can withstand the time and the amount of force you are going to put this reel under. Okay, along with talking about the pins, the next thing to have a look at is the amount of bearings that your reel is going to. And for the show of this video, I'm going to show you one of the bearings. And in this bait runner, you can see here it's only got a one ball bearing system, which means the drag is not so smooth. So it's got a lot of the clipping functionality, which will wear out eventually with a one ball bearing system. If we have a look see at the big pit, now it's very lightly put here, but this is a full ball bearing drag system. Alright, and this allows a lot smoother on your drag system, and it will also allow the amount of force that's put on your reel to be able to withstand and give you that smooth functionality when playing that fish. That moves us back to the spools that we've taken off the reels. And here we're going to discuss a little bit with regards to the line lay that the two reels give. If I put them side by side here, you can see the difference in the spool size. But more importantly, if we had to zoom in on the reel here, and we take, for example, the bait runner, you can see how the line has got a lot of little bumps and rolls, and it actually has a slight decline in the size of the spool as it goes up to the top of the reel. When we look at the big pit, you can see that from the bottom of the spool to the top of the spool, it's the same size, and the line lay is a lot smoother. As you can see here on the color of the reel, you can see that it lays the line very close to one another to allow you to have as much line on the reel, but also stops that overwind when casting. Moving on, the next thing to consider is your line clip. As you can see here, just for the purposes of this video, I've now put the line in there. But this is a very small steel pin, but it is a round pin, so which allows you to wrap your line quite nicely on there. And when you are casting against a clip, alright, to enable you to cast accurately same distance all the time, you are not going to get that abrasion from the line hitting around little clip like that. You are not going to receive that. If we have a look at a bait runner, alright, you can see the difference here on the little clip, and that is very rough, and it is a plastic, so the chances that this will last as long is not so much. But that also allows there to have plastic that will rub against your line, and that will cause friction and will eventually cut through your line. Now that we've discussed the line clip on both of the spools, the next thing to have a look at is the gear ratioing that is available to you on your two different reels. If we look at the gear ratio for the bait runner, we are talking about a gear ratio of about 5.2 to 1. When we look at the one from a big pit, we are talking about a gear ratio of 3.8 to 1. Now what does that actually mean to us? And very simply, if we have a look at the big pit, if we mark it off and we say to you, how many times does it take for this handle of the reel to turn around, and how many times will that spin the reel around? Now if we look at that, that means for one turn of the handle to come back, you can see it has turned just short of 4 times to come back to the same position, and thus giving you your gear ratioing. Now we have discussed the gear ratioing, but as you can see here, we have different handles on the various reels. If we have a look at the bait runner, you can see it's almost like a double axle. You have two places where you can grab the handle to be able to rotate it. When we look at that of a big pit, we have only one crank for it to be held for your handle, and this allows you to be able to crank the reel with a little bit more force, as those bigger fish will want to fight your reel, so you are able to grab the full handle and be able to rotate that with a little bit more force than that of the bait runner, where you are more reliant on just holding it within your fingers. So you have a lot more power in reeling with a big pit versus that of a bait runner. So now that we have learned some of the key aspects to look at the reels, the next most important question we all worry about, and that is, how much do we spend on our reels? And very simply put, the more you spend, obviously the better the reel is that you're going to receive. For the demonstration of this video, we were going through that reel, the custom black CB80, alright, which is the entry level to the big pits, alright, and this you're looking in the region of about 850 Rand, and that is really the entry level to big pits. The prices from there go really high, but that does not take away from the functionality as we've well shown you in this video. And if you have any questions with regards to getting yourself a big pit to be able to put yourself in contention with those bigger fish, please go ahead and give Kevin a call from Casey's Angling, and you will find his link on his Facebook page as well as the bottom in the description. Otherwise, guys, enjoy that fishing now that the fishing has been open from lockdown, and go and catch those big carp.